As somebody from a third world country, I really find it embarrassing when somebody from a third world country boldly sells you an ideology that what a thriving first world economy needs to survive is an influx of immigrants from a crippling third world, simply because these immigrants are so good in the art of impregnation and baby making, and therefore the new offsprings they will generate in this first world economic powerhouse of a country will set that country up for life. In other words, guys, we have an African podcaster preaching to his audience that the Japanese are stupid and foolish for protesting against their government's plan to flood their country, Japan, with African migrants. This podcaster claims that Africa is multiplying in population at exponential rates and that they could save Japan if allowed to freely move into Japan. He claims that not supporting this plan means the death of Japan, since Japan is experiencing severe declining birth rate. It is totally hilarious. This guy is convinced that Japan needs Africa, since Africans have baby-making superpower. It is all so ridiculous. But we're gonna listen to this man say these things himself. Then guys, we're gonna come back and dissect it.
People in Japan were protesting the initiative that the Japanese government had of doing a deal with African countries whereby they would have an exchange of students and workers between those African nations and particular cities in Japan. That video got a lot of engagement, a lot of comments pro and against what Japan was doing. People saying that, oh, Japan is justified, they're trying to keep it for the Japanese. And other people saying that, look at these guys, you're complaining, but at the same time, these Africans are actually doing jobs for you. Well, the interesting thing about this, and something that people are not aware of, is that the birth rates in Japan are collapsing. They've collapsed, not even collapsing. They are actually in a negative growth state in terms of the population, because women are having below the replacement level of babies. Africa, on the other hand, is exploding in terms of birth rates and has the fastest growing population and the youngest population in the world. One of the fastest, if not the fastest growing population is Nigeria. And I made a specific video about birth rates where I talked to you about how Nigeria is on course to be the most populous country on the planet by 2070. And the fact that right now it has one of the youngest populations on earth, with most of the population being under the age of 18. Now that is a big deal for a country like Japan. So in actuality, what the Japanese population don't realize is that they need Africans in order to maintain their society and their infrastructure and all the things that they're doing. Because very soon they're not going to have enough men at working age. They're not going to have enough women at working age. So whether it's construction, whether it's admin jobs, whatever jobs that are left that AI is not taking from Japan, they are going to have a very, very tough time maintaining them without Africans. And that is what the Japanese government knows, and what the general public in Japan don't know when they're out there protesting like everybody, oh, we don't want these blacks, these Africans are coming to take. That is all propaganda. In the future, you're going to be begging these Africans to come to your country.
Now guys, I'm a bona fide African, born and bred, and I love Africa, and I want to see Africa shine, and I like to take any chance I get to sell Africa to the world. But that doesn't mean that I have to peddle literal lies and fantasy to people just to make Africa look good. I can agree that Africa has its upside. Africa can be useful, and it has been useful in some cases. But when I see people, especially Africans, inventing false narrative just to sell you a mythical Africa like Wakanda land, or to tell you that we Africans have the capacity to make miracles in first world countries, even when we cannot even achieve anything worthwhile in our own African nations, then I have to speak up and shut down the BS. And when I do it with no holds barred. So this man is trying to brainwash his audience, not us, because he cannot brainwash us. He's trying to brainwash them that flooding a high-trust society like Japan with orderless and mostly lawless third worlders from Africa is what Japan needs to become more great. He said, look, Japan's birth rate is dwindling, but Africa is booming with offspring. And for that, flooding Japan with those offsprings from Africa is going to save Japan. But he did not tell you how unfed those offsprings in Africa are. He didn't tell you how hungry and uncared for those offsprings in Africa are. What he didn't tell you is also how overpopulation and breeding like a dog is in fact killing Africa. Now listen, Japan does not need mass low-skilled immigration from Africa to save itself, okay? And the claims in this video are misleading and it ignores fundamental realities about demographics, human capital, economics, culture, and governance, and a host of other things. And to even suggest that overwhelming a country like Japan with African migrants just so they can make babies in Japan to save Japan is a very, very ignorant statement to make. Now, this man in this video, the only thing he mentioned that Africans are going to offer Japan is not high intellectual quotient. It is not exceptional skill at tackling difficult jobs. It is not respect for law and order. It is not their exemplary work ethic, but simply their baby-making ability, their willingness to push out children even when they have no way of caring or raising those children, even when they have no resources to take care of those children. That is the only thing he mentioned. He even tried to use population as a flex. But guys, remember that population, which is nothing but quantity of bodies, does not equal quality of workforce or even societal maintenance. Overpopulation without corresponding productivity leads to nothing but poverty and underdevelopment, as well as the pressure to emigrate. Nigeria alone has over 250 million people, but her GDP is far smaller than that of Japan. Way smaller. It is not even close. By the way, Japan is the third largest economy in the whole wide world. Also, Nigeria's poverty rate is extreme. A significant percentage of Nigerians live below the poverty line. And I'm not joking when I tell you that over 60% of Nigerians have been classified to be multidimensionally poor, according to several statistics. Now, when I say multidimensionally poor, I mean they lack access to so many things like education, healthcare access, clean water, sanitation, electricity, adequate housing, etc. Okay? Now, the situation is also no different for all the other African countries, despite trillions of dollars that are being funneled into Africa for aid and other purposes. Now, how can these African migrants go to Japan to save Japan when they can't even save their own nations? If they are so skilled and so experienced in science and technology, okay, the engineers and, doctors, okay, if they are so skilled, why don't they apply the same skill in their own countries? Let me also remind this man that Japan is one of the world's highest average IQ. Okay, they have IQ ranging from 105 to 109. And this is just the average, guys. The Japanese have exceptional educational outcomes, low crime tendencies, high trust society, strong institutions, and a homogeneous culture that supports order and long-term planning. Whereas sub-Saharan Africans have much lower average national IQ, around 66, with some of them even having lower. Okay, we have some lower outliers and a bunch of individuals who just want their government to keep handing them money without even bothering to work.
Almost 100 million people in South Africa. Okay, so what is the GDP of South Africa? It's more than billions of rands. I'm saying, if this government, if these people of South Africa come together, this country can afford to give each and every South African 1 million rand a year for the rest of their lives. We are so rich. That's why all these countries want, all these guys from other countries want to come and stay in South Africa.
So yes, guys, they only want their government to hand them everything, money and all other social packages. So it is just not about birth rate. You cannot import third world people and expect to become a first world. No. Instead, when you import low IQ, orderless and lawless individuals in large quantities into your countries, you turn your country into an orderless, low IQ and lawless society. In other words, import the third world, become the third world. You see, that high trust society that Japan have meticulously cultivated, it will be completely destroyed Those wonderful unattended vending machines where people give themselves honest self-service will be completely gone. It will be ruined. Canada did it, and Canada is slowly finding out hard. Canadian leaders claim that they were importing skilled labor from third world nations to help make Canada stronger. But what they got was a bunch of low IQ third worlders seeking greener pastures who ended up destabilizing Canada, taking away unskilled jobs from poor Canadians and becoming heavily dependent on welfare and handouts. The same is happening all over Europe. These doctors and engineers from third world countries come to Europe promising to cure cancer and visit the moon and do all these wonderful things. But what ends up happening is they come into Europe and immediately find ways to latch onto the government, demand all sorts of welfare, and take available resources away from the real owners, which are the Europeans. They end up becoming a burden instead of a solution. And I don't really blame them, to be honest. I only blame the government of these wealthy countries who think that a bunch of people from third world countries who can't even pick up the dirt in their environment if their life depended on it is going to be the savior they need to catapult their already thriving nations into greater heights. I blame the leaders of these wealthy nations, honestly. And that is why I have so much respect for a country like Poland. Poland said, please take your engineers, take your doctors, take your scientists. Oh, you said these Muslim migrants might be the future engineers who are going to make Poland great. You say these African migrants might be the doctors who are going to finally find a cure to cancer. Well, thank you so much, but we don't want them, okay? Take them. Let them develop your countries for you. As for us Poles, we are good.
We don't need your doctors. We don't need your engineers. Take them all and pay for them. We don't need them.
Very smart nation. I mean, what can people who build like this benefit from people who build like this? What can you benefit from people whose greatest flex and greatest achievement is the ability to pop out babies without thinking? Think about it. It is easy to make 1 million babies. It is easy for one man to, say, impregnate 100 women and end up giving birth to 500 children. But what is not easy is having the capacity and the resources to take care of all those children. Before Japan makes the greatest mistake of their life, I will advise them to take a look at Africa. Take a look at these African countries. Do you like what you see? The people you guys are planning to import into your country in greater numbers come from here, okay? Take a look at Africa. Do you like what you see in Africa? Do you recommend these doctors and lawyers and engineers and scientists and, wonderful professional people making African countries great? Well, if that is what you want, then import them in large numbers into your country. But if not, then stand with the Japanese people who are saying no to this useless plan initiated by the Japanese government. Again, I am African, bona fide, okay? But that doesn't stop me from saying the truth when I have to. As always, guys, these are my thoughts and my opinions. Please feel free to share yours in the comment section below, but do so respectfully. Also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, honestly, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or buy me a coffee if you like, as a way of supporting the channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you on the next one. For now, peace.